On top of this hill, there is a feature that can be described as magical without being overly dramatic. The ruins of Dinas Bran castle on a windswept hilltop are, to me, one of the most incredible places I've ever been. It's a very steep hill, but it's not a particularly tall hill, and the way that the hundreds and hundreds of years have weathered and brought the ruins into an ever more earthy, natural looking structure with various mosses and lichens growing all over the stones have allowed it to not only stand prominently on top of this hilltop, but somehow also blend into the surroundings to such an extent that I've known people who aren't familiar with the area, who have been to the town of Llangollen at the bottom of the hill and not even realised that these ruins were stood up on the hilltop looking over them as they arrived here and left the place. Throughout this video, you may hear little moments where it sounds like there's a shh sound in the background, which at first thought would be put down to cars travelling on the roads. It is, however, actually the River Dee roaring down through the town below and out through the valley as it finds its way further and further along from the big hills of North Wales down through these lower ones and eventually out to some flat, calmer lands beyond. I think that for me, growing up and visiting this place as a regular part of my childhood, but not actually coming up to the hilltop until I was in my 20s, it almost grew to be this mythical place. And I would say that, if anything, the fact that it not only lived up to my expectations but blew them away when I did finally get up here, it sums up, at least to me personally and my character, how absolutely appealing and wonderful this area is. I feel that as the camera pans around different shots on top of the hill and you see the smooth grass and the sheep dotted around, there's two things really that spring to my mind. That the hilltop itself is a lot bigger and flatter than it appears from down below, and also what an extraordinary difference in times that we are living in from when this was built, and the extraordinary effort was gone to drag these stones and build these walls and kit out an entire castle's worth of stock and equipment. And now we live in a time where this is a novelty for walkers and people passing through the area, and more significantly, it is literally a home and, I suppose, a back garden for sheep to now roam around at their leisure. Well, sheep and walkers alike, I suppose. I could probably put together a video where I talked for hours about my trips up to this place and my thoughts and feelings and what it's like to actually be in this environment. But regardless of the words that I say, even just showing you these few clips on camera, you can start to get the idea that it's breathtaking. The element of the huge walls that, although in ruins, still dominate and tower over you when you're stood at the foot of them. There's so much going on here. The sense of history, the sense of man's domination over the environment of these huge walls stood on top of a hilltop, but then also that nature's taking it all back and man's struggle to just walk up the steep banks to be there in this modern age. It's just an absolutely wonderful place to be. And as I end this video now, simply looking into the camera for a time-lapse clip that I was filming, you can imagine that going up here, being in this environment, and simply standing still for 20 minutes or so, it was an absolute honour.